Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm going to be going over the 5 things that I don't exactly like about the all-new Pacifica. With that being said, let's get right into it. The first thing is the fact that it's a minivan. Now I know this seems like a really stupid point to make in a video talking about a minivan, right? Like saying, well, the thing I don't like about it is the fact that it's a minivan. But here's the deal, is first off, people aren't having nearly as many kids as what they were in the past, and so big vehicles like this aren't necessarily going to apply to the average family like they used to in the past, right? Now I kind of live in an area where that is the complete opposite. I'm in Utah, and everyone seems to have like 5 to 10 kids here in Utah, so minivans are great for where I live personally. But, you know, for the rest of the US, most people are only having like 1 or 2 kids, and, you know, this is complete overkill for that. Like, look at this. We have these captain chairs here in the center, and then we've got more seats there in the back. Now, obviously, the cool thing is if you have friends and family and all that kind of stuff you want to take around, then yeah, this definitely adds that practicality, but then you have to ask yourself, how often are you doing that? And then on top of that, there's a lot of stigma against minivans because of how they look and all that. And so that's why a lot of people have shifted over to SUVs. And so, like, this is, you know, by far the nicest, coolest minivan that's pretty much ever been produced. But that being said, it's still a minivan. It's not as minivans are just not as popular as what they used to be, frankly, because people are not having as many kids. And on top of that, you know, people that are having, you know, a lot of kids seem to still be going for like the bigger full-size SUVs because they'd rather have an SUV than a minivan just because of the stigma against it. I know, weak point, but had to make it. Number 2 is potential reliability issues. Now, I'm not going to just go out and say that because this is a Chrysler that it's unreliable, because you know what? That is not exactly reality. Chrysler has improved their reliability by a massive margin. Just go look at what JD Power and all that kind of stuff that talks about initial quality. They've definitely improved quite a bit. But just like a bunch of other modern cars and a bunch of other modern minivans, this has a ton of technology that could potentially, you know, break in the future. I'm not saying it will, but I'm saying potentially. So you've got, like, you know, big infotainment system, just like a lot of other modern cars. Power seats on both sides. You've got that big gauge cluster, power doors. I mean, I remember working in the dealership that these things would always fail with minivans when they had high mileage. And we've got TVs here in the back. The whole stow and go seat system is all automated now. We've got this big panoramic sunroof. And so suffice to say, there's a lot of technology going on. Now, the good thing is this uses Chrysler's 3.6 liter V6, which is tried and true at this point. I can't believe I just made that mistake, but you know what, we're gonna keep in the video because it's funny. A lot of people talk a lot of crap on this engine, but it's actually a really reliable engine. And so at least you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, there's just like a lot of other modern cars, there's a lot of tech, and when it breaks, it could be pretty expensive to replace. Number 3 has to pertain to the interior. Now, the only reason that I'm complaining about this interior is because this is like the top of the line luxury package, and this thing stickers for if the camera will show you, $57,500. That is crazy that a minivan costs that much in today's world. And, you know, frankly, like, this is definitely nice for a minivan interior. But, I mean, at that price point, like, you'd think that some of the material used here, like on the dash, for example, and the seats and everything, you think it would just be a little bit more high quality than it is. Again, like I said, especially considering the package this is, and also, like, there's tons, you can tell, like, there's cloth inserts, there's tons of areas where they, you know, definitely, you know, cheaped out to save on cost. And so, you know, for a minivan, it's a nice interior, but for a $57,000 vehicle, it's like, wow. Just, you know, I thought it'd have like a little bit more pizzazz to it. Number 4 is the powertrain. Now, I just talked about how this powertrain is super reliable and super robust, but I don't feel like it's powerful enough for a modern vehicle that weighs as much as this does. This thing weighs like 5,000 pounds, and it's got like mid 200s, higher 200s actually, for the horsepower, which is okay, but like, I'm at 4,500 feet elevation, and this thing feels just not powerful enough for the vehicle, especially on the highway. It doesn't really have any passing power, and I get it, it's a minivan. You're not going to be drag racing anyone, and I'm not expecting someone to release a 500 horsepower minivan, but I think that if this at least had like low 300s for the horsepower, maybe even mid 300s, that would be like the perfect amount where it's fast enough that you have passing power and it's great and it's just comfortable with the acceleration, but it's still not like crazy, because again, you don't want too much power because it's a minivan, right? You want to keep the cost down and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, just it's especially at elevation here, being naturally aspirated, it's a little bit underwhelming. And number 5 is the price. So I kind of already talked about this a little bit earlier, but again, $57,500 for the sticker price. It's just crazy. Like, this is supposed to be like a utilitarian family hauler, and it is that much money. It's just absolutely insane. Just a few years ago, minivan automakers refused to go over $50,000, and now $60,000 is a new $50,000, it seems like. And, you know, at this rate, it's like, you know, in the next few decades, we're going to have like $100,000 minivans, which is just crazy to think about. But yeah, definitely a thing. That's going to sum things up for this video about the 5 things I don't exactly like about the Pacifica. I'll see all of you in the next video.